Hey guys, thank you for tuning in. Much appreciated. Do me a favor before we begin our NFL predictions for this weekend's wildcard games. Hit that like and subscribe button for me and give me a like and leave your comments below. Much appreciated. And I thank you for tuning into my channel. Anyway, I want you guys to be a smart better this weekend because these games are all going to mean that we have a chance to make a lots and lots of money this weekend. And I'm giving you that edge for free. Okay, so listen, we had 172 wins during the regular season. We did take 100 losses on the money line picks, all right? I'm not really proud of that, but we were above 500 over and unders. We were 137 and 135. Those are really the toughest to get. I really hate betting on over and unders, and I recommend that as an amateur sports bettor like me to my audience, stay away from over and unders. They're just so hard to predict, including the NFL wildcard weekends and the playoffs that are coming up. Because right now, I want to concentrate on money lines and the spreads. So I was 137 and 135 with the over and unders, okay? And then against the spread, it was 137 wins. We took 131 losses, and we had 4 pushes or ties. So anyway, that was my regular season record. That's all out the window now. Just like all these teams in the playoffs, everything they did during the regular season is going to be out. And this is a whole new season. This is for all the marbles, people. So we're going to have to be very smart. I'm doing my homework, and I'm giving you this edge for free. It's Monday. I got all the early lines. Some of these point spreads are going to change during the week. You're going to have to jump on them very quickly. So let's begin. Let's start off with the first game, which is Saturday. We have the Rams going back to Carolina. If everybody remembers, the Los Angeles Rams took a beat down to the Carolina Panthers. I believe it was a few weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago? Okay. And in that game, it was a high-scoring affair between the two, which was kind of surprising that the Panthers were matching their offense against the Los Angeles Rams, okay? I'm not big on the Carolina Panthers offense. Anyone that saw the Saturday game between the Buccaneers, where the game was on the line, where it meant everything to the Carolina Panthers, as well as the Buccaneers, and what happened? Buccaneers beat them. Carolina laid an egg with everything that was given to them. You win the division. They laid a goose egg, and they lost. And they lost to a good quarterback in Baker Mayfield. Guess what? Here's an MVP candidate coming into your stadium, Carolina. His name is Matthew Stafford. And what do I always say when you go into the playoffs? You're going to deal with experience. The edge is right there. Who you going to take, guys? Let's be smart here. I know all the money's going to roll the Rams' way, okay? They are the favorites for this game. And the point spread started at minus 10.5. It is now at minus 9.5. I think I'm going to jump on that. I'm also going to money line the Rams. The experience is right there, folks, right in front of your face. Matthew Stafford, Bryce Young. Obviously, we're going with Matthew Stafford, okay? Look at the wide receiving units. You're going to depend on a rookie and Ted McMillan, Xavier Leggett. Come on, guys. We're better than that. You're going to go with Jalen Coker against guys like Puka Nacua, a healthy Devontae Adams. You got a running game that's kind of evenly matched, right? You got Rico Dowdle of the Panthers with Chuba Hubbard, okay? And then you got Kyron Williams. I don't know the health of Blake Corum, but then again, it's pretty much even, but I'm going to give a little edge to the Los Angeles Rams. They've been in the big games before. They've been through this before. We're going with experience, okay? Now, if you're looking for those little edges, I'm giving it to you. And that's how I look at this game. I'm going with experience. The Los Angeles Rams, let's money line it. Let's take that minus 7.5, folks. I'll show you the whiteboard later. Let's not play games here. Now, with over and unders, I'm really not going to care for over and unders during the playoffs because these games are all going to play out differently. You might think it's an offensive affair, and then it ends up becoming a defensive battle. So let's be realistic, people, okay? Stay away from over and unders because you're here to make money. You want player props? You want touchdowns? Okay, let's start off with this, okay? I think Puka's good to take for touchdown. I think Kyron Williams, okay? Devontae Adams is coming back, okay? Now, for the Panthers, I always depend on Rico Dowdle and Ted McMillan to get in the end zone, although Chuba Hubbard has been doing very well recently. So, guys, those are touchdown props you can get. Player props is totally different. Obviously, there's a lot of people out there that really would be interested in what type of player props you want to take. Well, look, the only thing I can say about this, folks, is that when it comes to player props, okay, you may want to go with quarterback Matt Stafford to throw for 225 over, right? Over 225 yards, maybe 2 touchdowns in this game. Bryce Young, maybe 170 yards. You could go over that. I don't think I'm going to take Bryce over 200 unless he falls behind. He starts throwing the ball all over the place. I think the Panthers are going to try to establish the run to keep themselves in this game. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Panthers are good enough defensively, but again, you don't want to be depending on the Panthers to give you those points. I don't think it's going to be a big scoring fest like the first time around, but that's me. After looking at everything that I was supposed to match up with, I just think the Rams defense is going to play a little bit better. They struggled the first time at Carolina. Give Carolina their props. They did take it to the Rams. They did beat the Rams, but the Rams are one of those teams. Okay, and I've been saying it all year. This team looks like a Super Bowl team. They really do. They got an MVP at quarterback in Matthew Stafford, okay? And then just judging by the season, by the way, and I know I said you throw out the season, it's a new season now, it's the wild cards, the playoffs, anything can happen, right? We have miracle runs in the past with teams that just get into the playoffs, but this is an 8-9 team. And the problem with the Panthers, they're Jekyll and Hyde. They're one of those teams where they win one weekend, they lose the following. They play great one weekend, they look lousy the next. It's been going on all season. I just think that the Panthers, they have talent. They kind of are ahead of schedule in a way that Canellis, the head coach, knows exactly what he's doing with this football team, building it together, getting some of the pieces. They're good enough to get in the playoffs. I give him that because they're in, but I also think they're still not ready to take that next step, and that's why I'm going with experience. Guys, money line the Rams. The spread will be -9.5 by the time I finish this video. So let's go with the -7 on -9.5. Guys, I'm giving this edge for free. Let's go on to the next game, and this is going to be a tough game. Again, I'm not doing over and unders, but I'm just going to throw this out there for the Rams and Panthers. If you want to take an over, and I believe the over was 46.5. Oh, man, this is why I can't do it. This is why I can't do it. I know the first game they would have covered, but the second time around, if Bryce Young doesn't play well, all the points could be coming from the Rams. Could be one of those 38-10 type of games. So you may want to take over. In fact, during the playoffs, you may want to take all of the overs. I mean, this is why I stay away from over and unders when it comes to playoffs. Okay, but I will be giving them out there. Okay, guys, the next game. Wow, what a great season Chicago had. What a terrible loss to end the season. You had all your starters ready to go to capture that number 2 seed and all of this going on, right? You had to win that game. And you lost to a team that was already out of the playoffs. The Lions were loose. They came in, they played tight. In fact, they played a better defense than expected. They ended up beating the Chicago Bears at Chicago, guys. Okay, that's not a good sign. That's not how you want to end the season. I understand it's a new season and they get vigorated, for the playoffs. But again, I'm rolling with experience here too. And I'm going to take, it's funny. The Green Bay Packers are favored for this game. And there's a reason for it. All the money is going to be evened out in this game. People going to roll with the Packers for experience. People going to roll with the Bears because the Bears had a fantastic season. The Cardiac Kids. Guess what? A sign. There was a sign there. Cardiac Kids of the Bears always coming back and winning games. They made a great comeback against Detroit, but they ended up losing that game. So what does that tell you? Maybe they're not ready to take that next step. In fact, they're ahead of schedule. Ben Johnson did probably Coach of the Year. Probably did a wonderful job. Okay, so he's ahead of schedule. I didn't expect the Bears to have this type of season. I thought they would win eight, you know, between 7 and 9 games. They ended up winning 11, right? I believe it's 11 games they won. Give kudos to the Bears. They have a good offense, two good running backs in DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monaghan. They're going to have to get those guys going this week against the Packers defense. We all saw what happened with Derrick Henry, right? And we all saw what the Minnesota Vikings did to, pretty much a depleted Packers unit that doesn't even have Micah Parsons, okay? And listen, offensively, they don't even have Tucker Kraft. And they went into that final game. They knew they pretty much knew, hey, you know what? We're going to wild card route. Let's rest our starters and get ready for the Chicago Bears. Good move by the coach. Unfortunately, both these teams went in on two bad losses, but I'm still taking the Packers. I'm going to money line the Packers, and I'm going to take that -1.5. It's so funny that Vegas made them the favorite. Vegas has been playing tricks with people all year. I just think Jordan Love pretty much will play in this game. I think that's a plus. I think the receiving unit of the Packers is going to create situations where they're going to get those quick hitches, those quick 5-yard slants and all that. And Jordan Love can't throw the deep ball. So can Caleb Williams, but I'm going to go with Jordan Love with the experience over Caleb Williams. Fantastic season, okay, under Ben Johnson. That offense was rolling with those tight ends of Cole Kmet. I don't know if Colston Loveland is going to be healthy. He took a vicious shot in that game on a touchdown where, I don't even know how he held on to the ball. I love their tight ends, love their running backs. I even love their wide receivers. I don't know if Romeo Nduze is going to be coming back. So there's a lot of question marks for me when it comes to the Chicago Bears. And it's only because of the inexperience, right? Luther Burden's a rookie, right? Colston Loveland, right? Guys like that. But they're going to have to, I think this game could be a under. They have them at over 46.5 as well. I think this could be an under game. I think both offenses are going to struggle somewhat. I think both defenses are going to play well in this game. But Josh Jacobs is going to have to carry the load for the Packers. He's been underused as recent as 3 weeks ago. He's been underused. In fact, I would say Josh Jacobs is too good of a running back to not be using come wild card weekend. I believe for the Packers to win, Josh Jacobs is going to have to get probably 80 to 90 yards in his game. Maybe, what's the other kid? Emmanuel Wilson helps him out there. Maybe a combination of these two going over 100, right? You want to keep the dogs off of Jordan Love, right? Last time they were in Chicago did damage, right? Malik Willis was able to come in and do some work. But let's take the Packers here. Let's go with the -1.5. They are the favorites. Vegas knows something. I'm telling you right now, I saw the edge when I went over it, and I saw something. Okay? So, guys, let's be a smart bettor. Let's throw the money where it belongs. Money line the Packers. Forget about the over and unders. If you had to take an over and under of 46.5, we will go the under. Guys, don't even touch the over and unders during the playoffs. It never plays out well. And let's go with the spread of -1.5. Let's go to the third game. And guys, I love this game. And here we go again with the experience. Josh Allen, although Trevor's been in the playoffs before, an inconsistent Trevor Lawrence. Has he been playing well? Absolutely. Have the Jaguars been playing well? Absolutely. They remind me of the Bears coming into the playoffs. They overshot. Okay? And when I mean overshot, they basically, what they did was they're ahead of schedule. I thought the Colts were going to run away with this division at one point. They were 7-1, and then the bottom fell out. Houston Texans, I think, are a much better team than the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? But check this out. You got Trevor Lawrence and his inconsistency. Right now, he's playing hot. But what do I always say? Come playoff time, that all goes out the window. Now it's time to step up. If Trevor's going to be the man in Jacksonville, he has to win this game. But here's the thing about this game that blows my mind, and Vegas tripped you up again. Just like the Packers and Bears, Vegas said, we're rolling with Superman, Josh Allen. We're rolling with the experienced Bills and Sean McDermott. who's going to come up with a game plan to force Trevor Lawrence into a couple of interceptions. Maybe, they're going to how do you say it? And I'm looking for that word. But they're going to come in and they're going to have a defense ready. If this is the defense that played against the Eagles a couple of weeks ago, and obviously the Jets, who are the Jets, but they beat down the Jets this past Sunday, okay, with a bunch of backups. That has a lot to do with not just coaching, but getting your team prepared to have momentum going into the playoffs. Same like the Jaguars. Problem I have with this, now they're going up against a team that was picked to get to the Super Bowl. And guys, I feel that the Buffalo Bills in the AFC is the team to beat. That's how I feel. Okay. But Vegas is going to trip everybody up, right? You got the red hot Jaguars, winners of their division, playing at home in Duval, whatever they call that place. And they got the Buffalo Bills coming in with all that experience and Superman at quarterback and Josh Allen. Guys, I'm rolling with the Bills. I'm a money line the Bills, and I'm going to take that -1.5. Vegas knows what they're saying, right? Hey, we're favoring the Bills. You got even money going on both sides. Everyone in Jacksonville is saying, what? They disrespected us? No way. We're going to pull the upset. Now with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, for them to have a chance, he's going to have to hit his receivers, and he's going to have to make plays, not just with his arm, but with his legs. And he's capable of doing it. He's been doing it recently. I'll give him credit. But that running game has to get going. While Shea Tootin and Travis Etienne, those two combined just like the Packers, they're going to have to put it together and get over 100 yards combined if they're going to beat the Bills. Now, the Bills are vulnerable with that running, okay? But here comes the Buffalo Bills. And let me tell you, they could put points up there, okay? And just like the Packers and Bears game this weekend, this is the same situation. Once Josh Allen gets rolling, people, Jaguars are going to be in trouble. Now, they have a good defense, the Jaguars. One of the best ones in the league, by the way. Good, solid defense. Josh Hines Allen, right? Good pass rusher. They have some guys that could get there. Secondary's a little weak. Not too bad, but it's a little weak when you consider what they're going to go up against. Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid. I'm not impressive with the wide receivers, but Josh Allen knows how to spread that ball around. This Terrell Shavers is coming around. You got Khalil Shakir, okay? You got Josh Palmer. You got Gabe Davis, a plethora of wide receivers that could get the job done for the Buffalo Bills. Listen, guys, I just feel that the weapons are on the Buffalo Bills side. I know they have Jacoby Myers and Brian Thomas, who was inconsistent this year. Parker Washington is probably better than him this year. I know they have those weapons. And I know the tight end is Brenton Strange, okay? Now, this is the way I look at it. I see Trevor Lawrence and I look at Josh Allen and I say, where am I going to find his edge? Guys, the edge is right in front of you. It's Josh Allen. And I know all the money's even out. Vegas did a nice job of putting the Bills as the favorite. Jacksonville's going to be disrespected. They feel like, hey, we're going to show them. And good for them if they win this game. But I just don't see it. They have Trevor Lawrence. Listen, I'm not disrespecting Jacksonville fans or Trevor Lawrence, but they got Trevor Lawrence. And if this was a draft and you had a choice with everything you saw from these guys the past few years, who you think you would pick as your quarterback? And let's not lie and let's not bullshit. You're going to pick Josh Allen over Trevor Lawrence 7 days a week. Okay? Come on. So that's my edge. Money line the Bills. Take the spread of -1.5. The Bills are favored. And even Vegas knows that. Okay? So let's move on to the next game. Here we go again. By the way, when it comes, if you want to pick touchdowns from that Bills and Jaguars game, I know I didn't do it much with the Packers and Bears. But if you want to pick Bills and touchdowns, let's stick with the guys that get in. James Cook, maybe a tush-push Josh Allen. Same with the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence could get it in with his feet. And you got Travis Etienne. Let's just stick with those guys. And if you want to throw one guy that's an X factor that could probably get in the end zone, it's like Parker Washington. He's just having an outstanding year. So you could roll with that. Okay, so let's go to the next game. And I really love this matchup. This is the matchup that's going to tell me if the Eagles are going to repeat or they're going to just go into this game and just flop. Okay, right now, as we speak, the Eagles are the favorite. Okay, it's at home, 49ers at the Eagles, a rematch of a championship game, 2 years ago. And there was no Brock Purdy in that game. Now, I've been saying all year, this is another coach from the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, who could be winner of head coach of the year. And I got to tell you something, that this is a very impressive coaching job, by Kyle Shanahan. This man managed to lose Brandon Ayuk, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, and George Kittle for parts of the season, as well as Brock Purdy. And yet the man is here, had a chance to get the number one seed. I didn't like the way they lost to Seattle. I think it rolls over here too. They'll keep the game close, but I'm going to money line the Eagles, and I'm going to take the spread of plus 3.5. That's what it's showing. These are the early lines as of Monday. Plus 3.5. It might go even lower. It could be at plus 1.5 by game day. But the reason I'm going with the Eagles, and I know they really stunk the field against Washington, and also I didn't like that he sat most of his starters. In fact, it's the reason why they lost to Washington. But I got to tell you something. This is a confident coach who's confident in his own starters. He didn't care if he was the number 2 or the number 3. Okay, his stint to the team was, when we get into the playoffs, we're heading to the Super Bowl. So I don't give a shit if we're the number 2 seed or the 3 seed. Let's take care of business once we get into the playoffs. And guess what? I love that. These are two good coaches. I know Nick Sirianni against Kyle Shanahan. People are going to say I give the edge to Shanahan. I think it's evened out. I think a guy like Nick Sirianni will get in the players' faces and say, we're here. Let's start taking care of business. We're the defending champs. We're not losing at home. 49ers got to travel 3,000 miles to get to Philadelphia, right? They had it in front of them. Home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and that included the Super Bowl where it's going to be played, and they still bombed against Seattle, against Sam Darnold of all people. Not saying that Sam Darnold sucks, but I put him in the same category as Trevor Lawrence. So listen, Jalen Hurts, he's capable. We've seen it. He's got the weapons, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. He's got the running back of Tank Bigsby, a big guy himself, and Saquon Barkley, who he struggled. Listen, he had a lot of carries these past 2 seasons, so give the guy a break. But I just think with the defense that the Eagles have, this is it for the 49ers. That's it. That carriage, that beautiful carriage that they rolled throughout the year, turns into a pumpkin. It's over, guys. For 49ers, if they're going to win this game, Christian McCaffrey is going to have to go for rushing and receiving, guys. He's going to have to do at least 150. He's going to have to have one of those dynamite games to beat the Philadelphia Eagles if the 49ers have a chance. And Brock Purdy, boy, I'll tell you, he was taking some hellacious hits against Seattle. And here come the Eagles with their defensive line of Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. Every now and then they come with that blitz, right? What's that kid from Georgia, that linebacker, right? And I got to tell you, 49ers are just as tough, but there was something missing in that game against Seattle. That secondary got exposed a little bit, right? And I just think the Eagles defense, Jalen Hurts probably will start off a little sluggish, but we all have seen it. Once Saquon gets going and I know they got some injuries as well on the O-line, once he gets going, this can turn into a bloodbath. For the 49ers to hang in this game, George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey are the key weapons. George Kittle around the middle, he's been battling the injury bug all year. Brock Purdy's going to have to stay upright in this game. And when it comes to experience, these two teams have experience. I think this is going to be one of the best games of the weekend. I'm going to roll with the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to money line. That spread's going to be plus 3.5. The Eagles are the favorite, but I think the 49ers will hang in there. And I'm going to stick with that plus also. Even if it goes down a little, like let's say plus 2.5, plus 1.5 maybe. I don't know. I feel like Vegas is going to drop it. This is all evened out money. People are going to throw their money with the 49ers, right? But you can't be picking with your heart because you're a 49ers fan or an Eagles fan. Got to be a smart better, people. And I think the smart bet here is the Eagles. Okay, before we move on to the other games, let's just say that the over and under for this game right now is over 46.5. A lot of these over and unders. This is why I'm telling people out there, these amateur sports bettors, that's even experienced ones, stay away from these over and unders. I think they're overly exaggerated on some of these, right? The over and under on that Bills game against Jaguars is at 51.5. I don't think the Jaguars want to get into a touchdown fest with the Bills. They have to keep that game low. So a lot of these over and unders I'm staying away from. That's my advice. I'm not even posting the over and unders. I'm just going with the money line, the spreads. You want to get touchdowns from the Eagles, go straight with Saquon, A.J. Brown. Okay, Jalen Hurts with a tush push. If you want to go with the 49ers, look for Christian McCaffrey as always. I think Juwan Jennings maybe. That secondary is tough for the Eagles. Quinyon Mitchell, probably one of the best corners in the league, if not the best corner in the league. I really love that kid. But that's how I feel. Moneyline Eagles, plus 3.5. It might go lower, but stick with that plus, okay? I think the 49ers are going to hang in there. It could be an overtime thriller, okay? But I think the Eagles will win that game. Okay, let me pause this, and then let me update my board. All right, guys, this is how we look for those first 4 games in NFL Wildcard Weekend. Remember, I'm not posting up the over and unders. I would suggest and advise for your amateur sports bettors, don't ruin your parlays with those over and unders. Stay away from it. All right, guys, we have the final 2 games of the weekend. Okay, we'll end it with the Steelers and the Texans on Monday night. Let's begin with the first one on actually the last one on Sunday. Okay, I really hate these late games, by the way. I really don't understand why we got to go the entire wild card weekend and then end it on a Monday night. I don't see anything good about that. I think it hurts opponents when they got to prepare for a game after coming off a Monday night game. Good that they gave the Steelers an extra weekend. That is my team. But what I don't like is, do they always have to be on prime time too? I mean, come on. All right, enough bitching. Let's get to the most important thing here. This is another good game. And folks, if I had to pick upset specials, an upset special this weekend, it's the Chargers at the New England Patriots. Yet again, I'm rolling with experience, guys. I really am. I didn't like the way they lost to the Denver Broncos, the Chargers, but I kind of like that they sat some starters. They conceded to the fact that, you know what, we got to rest our guys. We got to get healthy. They did that for Justin Herbert. That's a pretty good thing to do, and they kept that game close, guys. It wasn't like they got blown out by Denver. Okay, and we'll talk about that later. Okay, now you're going to play a New England team. Okay, very impressive to end the season. Okay, but yet again, that inexperience that bothers me. You got Drake May, MVP level quarterback, against the experienced Justin Herbert. Now, both these quarterbacks are actually the same. They're mobile. They could get the job done with their feet. Okay, and they got passing arms, and These two guys know how to distribute the ball and get it out there. If I had to find an edge, it would be the New England defensive front against the Chargers offensive line. They are depleted. But throughout this season, if you notice, the Chargers, they don't give a shit about their offensive line being depleted. They'll just plug in a guy and let Justin Herbert do his thing, throwing the ball here and there and whatever. Mike Vrabel is going to have a defensive plan for that. There might be more blitzing. But you know what happens when there's more blitzing? If you don't get to the quarterback, you leave the whole middle wide open. And guys like Keenan Allen, Oronde Gadsden, all right, one of the finest rookie tight ends I've seen, okay, if I pronounced his name correctly, no disrespect, OG, right, Oronde Gadsden, okay. I mentioned Keenan Allen. You got Quentin Johnson, and you got the favorable Ladd McConkey. And then you got a running backs, Vidal and Hampton. Okay, this team is talented and loaded at the skill positions. They are going to go up against a Mike Vrabel defense. These are not the Jets. Okay, these are not Patsy Titans or teams that, or whatever. Now, people are going to say, New England had a soft schedule. Listen, New England didn't make up that schedule. And you could say, you could also have another coach of the year candidate in Mike Vrabel. But they did what they did. Whatever lined up in front of them, they beat down. They're where they're at. This is a good, solid football team. They won their division. They got the job done when they had to play teams like Buffalo. Okay, this is a good, solid, all-around team. But like the Bears and like the Jaguars, Mike Vrabel is ahead of schedule. Now, I don't know the health of Robert Spillane, the linebacker. I don't know his health yet. But I just feel that the Chargers are going to pull the upset. And I know that all the money is rolling the Patriots' way. They're playing at New England. The elements, the Chargers have to travel from West Coast to the East Coast. And I might be wrong. Just like the 49ers going to the Eagles, I might be wrong. Both those teams are capable of winning. But I just feel that of the two, the 49ers and the Chargers, I just feel the Chargers have that upset mentality. Jim Harbaugh is a fantastic coach. I'm not taking nothing away from Mike Vrabel, but I just feel Vrabel is 1 year ahead of schedule. I feel that they were a team that could have won 7 or 9 games, and they ended up winning the division. A tough division because Buffalo is a Super Bowl-bound football team, right? Beginning of the year, that's what everybody said. I love this matchup. I think it's going to be exciting for NFL fans. Something tells me, with all the money rolling, Patriots way, I think the Chargers, I'm going to money line them, and I'm going to take that plus 3.5. I just think the Chargers are going to win this game. I just feel they're going to upset them. Where do I find that edge? It could be the fact that because of their depletion of their offensive line, if there's such a word as depletion, I make shit up as I go along. But I just feel because of that, Vrabel's going to start sending blitzes in there. And let me tell you, if they don't get there, Justin Herbert's going to roll out of the pocket, which could be part of the game plan, or he's going to use his legs to get first downs. He might struggle in this game. I think both quarterbacks are going to struggle. I don't know if it's going to be an offensive affair. I know that both teams are capable. Okay, you got Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson, just like the Chargers got Vidal and Hampton. Edge is even. Wide receivers, the edge is even. Kayshon Boutte, Stephon Diggs. You got Hunter Henry. You got Demario Douglas. You got guys that could come in the game. No one, Drake May favors no one. Neither does Justin Herbert. He doesn't favor which wide receiver he likes. I've seen him throw to Trey Harris. These two teams are mirroring each other. And the one edge I see is the defensive line of the New England Patriots, right? What's that linebacker for the Patriots? I think it's Chazon. That's his name, right? He's going to have to get there. And if he doesn't get there, it's going to expose a lot of the underneath. Hampton's got good hands out of the backfield as Vidal. Ladd McConkey's going to exploit that. I mean, Christian Gonzalez is a fantastic corner. But he might be just lined up against Quentin Johnson the entire game. Okay? Who's going to cover Lat McConkey? Who's going to cover Keenan Allen? They're going to get exposed, people. And I think, just like the Bears, that beautiful carriage, and I might be wrong, guys, listen. I try to give you this edge for free, but I also explain it to you. This could be a situation where, just like the Bears, okay, they went through the season on a carriage, and now they're going to get exposed in the playoffs. The inexperience is going to show up. Has Drake May arrived as a solid quarterback? Absolutely, absolutely. Just like Caleb Williams, absolutely. These guys are going to carry the future for the NFL. Justin Herbert's just the same, and he's hungry. He didn't expect his O-line to be depleted by now, but it's all about Justin Herbert. And the Patriots are going to have to find ways to disrupt this man, because I think Herbert, he's going to lay it on. I think you're looking at maybe 40 pass attempts in this game. Is that to say the running game doesn't work? That could be the one thing that could kill the Patriots this weekend. Maybe the running game. Let me tell you something. If Hampton gets over 50 yards and Vidal over 50 yards, it's over for the Patriots, because they do factor in that their defense is predicated on stopping that run. That's what makes them dangerous on defense. But guess what? The Chargers are coming in here with a defense, pal. Derwin James. They got a couple of linebackers that could come at you. And they got a decent D-line. You know, Khalil Mack coming off the edge. I think the Patriots are going to be in the dogfight this weekend. But here's the upset. Money line, the Chargers. I believe the over and under for this game is 46.5. Again, I'm not even touching that. I'm trying to stay away from over and unders. But if I had to guess, I'm going to take the over of 46.5. Both these offenses are capable. You could get touchdowns from Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevens, Hunter Henry for the Chargers, Vidal, Hampton, Keenan Allen, and Quentin Johnson, even Lat McConkey. This is going to be a great game. I think we're in for a real treat. In fact, I think every game this weekend we're in for a real treat. This is going to be fun for the NFL. Look for the Chargers for the upset. That's my upset special. And let's take that plus 3.5 spread. It might go down to as much as 1.5. Okay. But let's take that plus 3.5. Let's roll with it. Okay. And now the final game of the weekend. It's on a Monday night. It's with my team. I love this team. I love the resiliency. I love the fact that they, when all things seemed hopeless, they stood next to each other and pulled it out. DK's coming back, people. And this is why I'm going to talk a little bit about this game. I think the Texans have a Super Bowl bound defense. I think their offense is capable of making noise. Are they Super Bowl bound? They still need help on that offensive side. I don't see a breakaway back. I know Joe Mixon was out for the year, and Joe Mixon, to me, if he was active in going into the playoffs, man, I will roll with the Texans. But I think that's the element they're missing. Is Woody Marks a good running back? Absolutely. Is Nick Chubb a good running back? Absolutely. But are they Joe Mixon? No. Joe Mixon just adds a different element. And people forget this team started the season 0-3, and here they are. But it was that defense, those two pass rushes, Danielle Hunter. Okay? And let me tell you something. Okay, those two pass rushers. I'm having a brain fart with the other guy. I don't know why, but he's on my lips, to talk about this guy. But this defense, they got a decent secondary. They got a set of linebackers. They were number one. I believe they were number one with Cleveland, right? Or number two behind Cleveland, which is outstanding that Cleveland had the number one defense all year. That's crazy to, so sad they fired their coach too. That was terrible. By the way, a lot of coaches have been fired since, and we're only on a Monday. But the Texans are rolling in with a defense that is Super Bowl ready. You put this defense, compare it to the Broncos and Jaguars and the teams they are in, guys, how can they lose? And I'll tell you why. Their offense. CJ Stroud has been playing better, but I think it was a mistake. I'm not sure, but I think it was a mistake not playing him much this past Sunday. Even though they won, they had a battle for that win. Um, I don't. CJ Stroud can be inconsistent too. He reminds me of Jordan Love. One weekend, they're throwing for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, playing, running. The athletic ability and everything he has in him is there. And then he'll have a game where he'll throw for 200 yards, 2 interceptions, get multiple sacks. And they have a good wide receiver, Nico Collins. But, Christian Kirk, Xavier Hutchinson, I believe, or Higgins. There's another guy there. I don't know if it's enough. They are capable of putting points. Now, people are saying right now, what are you, nuts? What the hell? It's not like the Steelers have the greatest defense. You're absolutely right. But something changed on that defense over the past month, and they've been playing better than usual. Listen, I know they gave up 100 yards to Derrick Henry. But did you see the way they played from the second quarter to the fourth quarter against Derrick Henry? It seems like this Steelers defense, the past month, you cannot blame that defense for losing in Cleveland. And now they're getting back DK Metcalf for the offense. So that struggle, they put up 26 points against the Ravens defense. Yeah, I know people are going to say, well, Kyle Hamilton was out for the last half. They still put up 26 points with no DK. And now they're going to go up against a tough defense again. Probably the best defense in the league. That's the reason why they're here after an 0-3 start. But they're on a hot streak, the Texans, 10 straight. I believe, like the Bears and like the Jaguars and like maybe the Patriots, the carriage was a great ride and it's about to burst. And they're going to become pumpkins. Now, with that said, all the money's rolling to the Texans. No one believes in Mike Tomlin. No one believes in the Steelers' defense. No one believes that a 42-year-old quarterback's going to stand in there against this mighty defense with those edge rushers, right? No one believes that the Steelers even have a shot. That's why they're underdogs in their own stadium. But behind that crowd, and now that TJ Watt is back. Now, I want to give the edge to Aaron Rodgers here against CJ Stroud. People are going to say, whoa, pump your brakes, buddy. What are you talking about? CJ Stroud's an excellent quarterback. He is. But even though he has experienced himself in the playoffs, right? I believe he beat the Chargers last season. But again, that 10-game winning streak is out the window now. Now you're coming into a hostile environment. Steelers remember how they got played by the Texans last year. They're coming in with vengeance. Okay, the Steelers are going to sit and wait for these guys. They're ready. Listen, the Steelers' experience, and I know the Texans got a few guys there, but the Steelers' experience with Aaron Rodgers, Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, guys like that, they're hungry. They're not going to let this opportunity slip away. They haven't had a home game since 2020. And the last home playoff game they had, they got bombed by the Cleveland Browns. Mike Tomlin remembers all that. These guys are getting ready. This is their last chance, folks, for guys like Cam Hayward and Aaron Rodgers. This is their last chance. They are going to play loose. They're going to put the pressure on CJ with multiple blitzes. Now, I hope Terrell Austin, I don't really value his coaching at all. I think he's one of those guys that the Steelers have to get rid of when the season's over. I'm still upset that he put linebackers on wide receivers last week and nearly cost the Steelers a playoff. I'm not a big Terrell Austin fan, but I think the talent that the Steelers have with Jalen Ramsey, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Cam Hayward, Nick Herbert. Guys, we could go on and talk about this as a good group. I'm moneylining the Steelers. I'm taking the plus 3.5. I'm rolling with the dogs. I know I'm a homie. I know that's my team, but I'm going to be realistic. I just think the Texans, with all the confidence that they have, with everything they've seen from the Steelers, are going to make mistakes. I think the Steelers are going to go run heavy. I think this is a Jaylen Warren type of game with Kenneth Gainwell, who's excellent out of the backfield as well. DK coming back. It's going to open up some room there for Scotty Miller, Pat Fryermuth. I think Calvin Austin's an X factor. I think MVS, Marquez Scantley, he's going to be running those deep posts to open up everything in the middle. I don't think this is going to be one of those games where you can honestly say, oh, this guy doesn't know shit. I'm not going to pick anything this guy does. He doesn't know shit. Guys, this is when Mike Tomlin coaches his best. This is when he prepares his team. And sometimes he allows the veterans to get the input that they need to put into a game like this and pull off victory. Guys, when I tell you this is another game that I smell upset, I'm not lying. This is upset city right here. I was looking for edges, man. These teams on offense complement each other in a sense. It's not like the Texans are putting up 40 points every weekend. Okay, and that wasn't a 38-point victory that you saw on Sunday against the Colts. These were backup players in there for the Texans. And the Colts were playing with a quarterback, Riley Leonard, I think is his name, or Leonard Riley, whatever. He's got like 2 first names for a name. But, guys, they sat down C.J. Stroud, right? They sat down a lot of these guys. It was necessary, right? Get fresh legs for the first opening round. I think the Steelers are coming rush heavy. I think the Texans are expecting the Steelers to run rush heavy. And the over and under for this game is 39.5. I would go with the under. I'm looking at like maybe 2017. Okay, type of game. 17-14, 17-13, somewhere around that. Might come down to overtime, might come down to a field goal by Chris Boswell, who, yikes, missed an extra point. But listen, the guy's been money throughout his career with the Steelers. I think he'll be money in this game. I think you guys will make the money if you roll with me and take this upset special of the Steelers and take that spread of plus 3.5. I think it sounds about right. Listen, guys, this game is going to smell funny to me. And I think at the end of Monday night, the Steelers are going to move on to their next opponent. This is a great, and with that said, guys, touchdowns, maybe Jaylen Warren, Pat Fryermuth, maybe DK. He's going to give us a lift. Then for the Texans, look for Woody Marks, Nico Collins. But I just feel like this weekend's going to be one of the best NFL wildcard week. I love every matchup. By the way, when I'm looking at these matchups, right, because I try to give you this edge for free. And by the way, hit that like and subscribe button once again and give me a like. And I want to hear from you guys, okay? I do this all for free for you guys. I do all of this for free. I do all the homework. I was up late last night looking at these matchups, and I fell in love with all of them except for one game. That Rams and Panthers. I just feel like the Rams are going to blow them out or something. That's why that point spread is so high. But I think by the end of the weekend, that point spread of minus 10.5 is going to drop to somewhere about 7.5, 8.5. Outside of that Rams and Panthers game, wow. Packers at Bears, Bills at Jaguars, 49ers at Eagles, Chargers at Patriots, Texans at Steelers. Guys, you can money line either or. Maybe it's best you take a parlay sheet or parlay different games. Like I'm going to take the Chargers here and the Steelers for upsets, or I'll just keep it normal with the Texans and the Patriots, right? You could do all of that, right? Go with 2 sets of parlays. But the money is out there to grab. Stay away from the over and unders. You could do touchdown props. I'm going to feel confident with, but I want you to do same game parlays. Be a smart bettor. Do 2 sets of same game parlays. If you want to keep which team is out of it, that's a smart thing to do on a parlay. Just go with maybe one guy for a touchdown on each parlay, and then everything else will be a player prop, right? How many yards, how many catches, how many receiving yards, how many passing yards, well, how many touchdowns will be scored. That might be the best way to go with player props. But with that said, guys, and don't be a joker. That's why I got that card there. It's NFL Wildcard Weekend. And I don't want you guys to be jokers either. Take this, be a smart bettor. I did all the edges for you. I did all the homework. I even showed you in the off season, preseason, how to look for the edge, right? You have those little boxes, quarterback, running back, wide receivers, and you match them up with the other team, and then you start checking them off. I could have done that today, but it would have taken so much time for this video. Anyway, guys, good luck this weekend. Hit that like and subscribe button for Casino Pete. The edge is free. I do all the work. Give me a like as well, and leave your comments below. Guys, good luck this weekend betting NFL Wildcard Weekend. Let's go get that money, guys. Enjoy.